Gods of my mangas, Goon Part 6. Today we're going to be talking about Desolation, the god of destruction. The thing that you need to understand about Desolation is he resides within Wargast, and Wargast oversees the entirety of the east of Termini. And for my more astute observers, you may notice that there is this black spot down here, and that's where Cypher, goddess of the void, reigns. But does she actually rule over the east alongside Desolation or in opposition to him? Well, the answer is neither. He only cares about her divine city, and that's pretty much it. So Desolation effectively gets free reign over the entirety of the east so long as he stays away from the void. And this purple four-armed man of lust absolutely does keep concubines by his side. However, the selection process is different than any of the other gods on this list. And that's because Wargast is a theocratic straocracy, which means that the church oversees the military, which runs the city. Because, pretty much any city ruled over by a god is going to have some level of a theocracy in it. And so if you want to be a concubine of Desolation, all you have to do is apply. However, your military record and your social record have to both reflect a high quality individual. There are two types of concubines that you can become within Wargast. You can become a daily or you can become a temporary. A perfect example of a temporary would be Evelyn. And she was one of the guild's diamond OCs that was inserted into the lore because the woman who created her was literally so thirsty over this god, she literally created an original character for the sole purpose of being his concubine. You know what, Marceline? I respect it, but you're thirsty. And Desolation is one of the few gods who have been able to actually have a child with someone else. However, I want to emphasize the child is not a demigod. It's basically another situation of Veronica from my Night of Slaughter series where, yes, she is the daughter of a god, however, she is not a demigod. By the way, if you want to get somebody into the mangas or just be someone's concubine, you could also get a diamond and do that as well. But I digress. So a daily is basically somebody who applies to basically become a concubine because, they want to sleep with their god. And they go through, rigorous examinations to make sure they are genetically superior enough to hold his child. Once approved, they will literally slot you in like an appointment during one of his daily sessions. He will go in, he will have sex with you, and then you go about your day. But you will have to go through consistent checkups for the next few months to make sure, you actually didn't end up getting pregnant. But if you are a temporary concubine, you will live within the Holy Palace and you will be given daily slots to where you will have to go sleep with the god. Because, that's kind of your job for the time being. Now, it is a very, very prestigious, position because you are literally one of the people selected to potentially have one of the god's offspring. However, just because you do end up having one of his kids doesn't mean you're going to maintain a high position, just like Evelyn, where she had to join the military after her time of giving birth because her child wasn't a demigod. No, you do not have to be born within Wargast in order to become a concubine. However, because, the whole East is having their own Holocaust moment because of, Wargast and the Wish. And if you want to understand why, just go check out chapter 10 of the Night of Slaughter, which is free to read, by the way, and you'll get the historical context on why the East is doing their own little purges right now. But if they capture someone outside of Wargast, which is considered a savage, and the legions believe that they would be a good offering to the god, then they will go through the process of bringing them back to Wargast. They will undergo examination, and the church will ultimately make the decision of whether or not they will become a daily or temporary, because right now they are a slave. It is very rare that Desolation does accept these slaves because why would he accept somebody who is not of his own people? Because his belief is usually, unless there's a very good reason for the exception, he wants one of his mothers to be of a Wargastian nature, that the right, the honor belongs to his citizens. But if there is a unique enough situation, which he has done in the past, there has been less than 20 occasions since Wargast's founding where he has taken an outsider as one of his concubines. But in the next video, we're going to be discussing Cypher, Goddess of the Void. If you want to know more about the lore, go ahead and check out The Devil's Deal and The Night of Slaughter, which do share the exact same moral with all this lore.